Well, hi there. I'm Sandy Allnock with this month's Create in Color. I love coloring with MFT stamps. And this month, I'm going to be doing some human rainbow work. And if you're not familiar with it, I changed the ethnicities on a lot of stamps. These are the colors that'll be used. If you want to pick up the JPEG of that, it'll be over on their blog. And I'm going to be changing her ethnicity and changing her hair and everything. You can do that with stamps. I don't know if you realize that, but you can change things and make them the way that you want to because you're the artist doing the coloring. And I am doing this ongoing project that I've been on for years about how to color different ethnicities and how to make those adaptations to stamps that we have. And this little girl is on a swing. I've stamped her at a real strong angle so she can be up in the sky. And it goes perfectly with the "thanks for giving me the push I needed" sentiment. And the way you consider lighting on something like this is still, even though it looks like if she were standing, you might put the shadows in different places, you want her to be facing the sun. So if the sun is in that kind of upper right kind of area, the shadows are going to be on the bottom and the left side of each of the shapes. So if you normally color the girls in this line standing, then you might find the shading like her face this way, the whole half of her face, might feel a little awkward. But remember, it's all about where the light is coming from. The light is up in the sky, there's sun up there, and you want all of the highlight areas to point toward that light source. And I'm using a couple of different browns to create some skin tones. Now there are 1,000 combinations for skin tones. That's why I call it the human rainbow. We are crazy in our vast amounts of colors in the human race, the human species. And you don't have to use my colors. You can use a lot of different ones. And to that end, I'll have linked over on my blog, I have a chart called the Human Rainbow. If you've downloaded before, I have a new version of it, and I'll have a link to that as well over on my blog. And that one has some more examples and more color combinations because I want to encourage people to really reach out and try something different. So here I'm going to adapt her. I've already done her skin. I'm going to adapt her hair. And you might think, okay, well, I'll just color the hair that's there, but just color it black hair and it'll be fine. Now you might be coloring a little girl that has hair like that. And if you're trying to customize it for someone who you're trying to make it look like them, then absolutely make the hair look like that. Well, I decided I don't have a person I'm thinking of in mind, but I want to give her longer pigtails and I want to give her a little curly hair. So I'm going to go around the edges of it and just make almost little dots, little stippling around the outside edge. That's going to make it feel like it's got a little curly going on. But notice I have a C7. I'm not using a super light color because when you're coloring over top of a stamped line, you're going to have to mask that somehow so people don't see that there was actually a straight line underneath of there. And so I'm creating bigger ponytails, with little curly hairs on them. And remember, her hair might swing in different ways if she's on a swing up in the air. It may not go the direction it would if she were just standing still. And then I'm going to go in with a C9. You can even go in with a black, but be careful because black can get really dominant and overbearing on hair, and you want to still leave some areas for highlights. I'm going to go in with my C9 and add some shading to that. Just a few darker areas on the bottom side and that sort of thing to create some depth in her hair. And suddenly she doesn't look anything like the stamp that I stamped in the first place. And that is the cool thing about being artists, is that we can reimagine whatever it is that we're working on. That's what I love about coloring scenes, when I can place one of my stamps in a setting and give them objects around them to interact with, stamp them in a way that's different and unique. I love doing that. And it allows me to bring more of myself to the artwork rather than just stamping something right in the middle or stamping her hanging from the top of the card would be fun, but it's really fun to think of her really moving. And if she's at this angle, there is no way she's sitting still. And that in itself just tells a story of motion. It just approaches the stamp in other than a normal way. So anytime you're going to stamp something, always consider where on the page you're stamping it, what angle. Is it peeking in from the side? Is it peeking in from the top? Or are there ways that they can interact with their surroundings, even if it's just in a really simple way? And on this card, I'm going to give her a very, very simple background. So you don't have to be an amazing artist that can draw all kinds of crazy things to make a really interesting scene. But first I'll get the coloring done on her outfit. And I wanted to give her good strong colors because my thought for this was to just give her a sky behind her. And you could do that with a plain blue sky. You can mask her out and do a sky with distress inks and all different kinds of stuff. You can do it with your Copics like I'll do it. You can put trees behind her, so she's just flying in the air over tops of trees. Just put a bunch of really big trees at the bottom. A lot of different ways you can add scene elements that don't have to be super difficult to draw. And when I do my videos here on YouTube or whether I'm teaching my classes, I always try to give people ideas on how to create some things that they can use in a variety of ways. I have some fall trees classes I did where you could just change the colors of the fall trees and make them into spring trees and put them in this scene, and she could be in the park swinging past big, beautiful trees. And that's something easy to draw. It's not super difficult, and I love giving people those tools. So thank you to all of you who use them regularly. I love seeing your work tagged and stuff in the MFT Facebook groups and all over Instagram and everything when you use these techniques with the MFT stamps to create settings for your characters that you're stamping. So now that I'm done waxing on about that, I've been feeling very grateful for all the people who are joining me in the effort to make stamps tell a story on their cards. I just love seeing that, and just wanted to say thank you to all you. And I know a lot of the MFT folks are the ones who participate in doing that. And I hope I can encourage you to do the human rainbow as well. So with the clouds, you're coloring the negative space behind the cloud because the cloud is white. You can actually add more color into the clouds, but here, to keep it simple, I just made some scallops to create a corner of blue sky with a big cloud behind her, and then sort of a mini cloud underneath of where she's in front of, just to make that interaction a little bit. And then I decided I need a little weight in the corner of the card somehow, just a little bit. So I'm just going to add some very light B00 down here just to anchor the card a little. It felt just empty down there, and creating just that little tiny hue made me feel a little bit better about it. And then I put it on some cardstock with a red border. Simple design, but look at the story that it tells. She's actually getting that push. And it's a great way to be able to make an encouragement card for somebody that has some action in it, even though you didn't put a slider, you didn't put anything interactive in it, but the card feels like it's got some motion going on. Get more information on all of this over on the blog, and I will see you again next month. Thanks for visiting. Bye-bye.